Hello and hello and hello, welcome back. Today's video is going to start with a little bit of international slash Texas flair. Let's see if you can find the Texas part. I think it's going to be very difficult. Good evening. Erev Tov. Buenas tardes. Masa al khair, y'all. See, I told you it would be tough to figure that out. As you have seen already, the title of this video is Cognates. Cognates. This is going to be quick, but I want to share this a little bit because I find it interesting, okay? Lots of words, lots of cognates. So if you've studied Hebrew on any level, you will already know that each Hebrew word has what's called a shoresh. Shoresh, which is the Hebrew word that means root, like root for the tree over the top of my head there. Okay, and out of that typically three-letter root, you can take two of those three letters and they will form a cognate, which is part of a different word, but they have an overlap in meaning. Okay, I'm really a word nerd, whether it be in English or whether it be in Hebrew or whether it be in Arabic. I am a word nerd, so I thought I would share some of these with you. Okay, so of course you know that we are in the Torah reading cycle. We are in Sefer Bamidbar, Numbers, which also, well, it means in the wilderness, Bamidbar, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the word Bamidbar down for you, but I'm going to make the two letters for the cognate in a different color so that they're easily recognizable. So Bamidbar is spelled with a bet, spelled with a mem, a dalit, another bet, and a resh. And I did all of that, and I didn't color your cognate letters with a different color, as I said I would. So I'll burn a little time, and I'll do that now. So Bamidbar means in the wilderness, okay? But there's more to it than simply just in the wilderness, of course. The word Bamidbar, okay, has this cognate that we're going to look at. And you will notice, especially if you're familiar with, here we go, especially if you're familiar with all of the stories that are transferred from Bamidbar, you will know that there was a lot of repetitive things that took place, a lot of cyclical things that took place, cyclical movements, just a lot of things that kind of makes you want to scratch your head and go, that's very interesting. So as you can see, I've highlighted the letters Dalit and Resh. Dalit and Resh, okay? And just so you know, Bamidbar as a word, the three-letter root here, this is just a preposition, okay? The bet is a preposition, and the mem is a preposition as well too. And at its root, the word Bamidbar, its root is the word davar. Davar, which can mean a word, a matter, or a thing. A word, a matter, or a thing. This is what it can mean. Okay, but in this particular case, we are highlighting Dalit and Resh, okay? Now, I talked about in a video recently covering Bamidbar, I talked about how the fact that the wilderness was a place of chaos and disorder. It's not a place designed for living over a long period of time. It's a place designed to pass through. The temperatures are varying, whether it be burning up in the daytime or freezing at night. The place was full of predators, quadrupeds, and otherwise. And it just simply was not a place to stay very long. Kind of reminds you of this life and this body that we live in as well too. But the interesting thing is that out of the root davar, we have dar. Dar. If you just take these two letters, right, and put them together, you will be left with dar, the word dar. So for a lot of folks who have been, again, studying Hebrew, dar in the block form or dar in the cursive form. If you have been studying Hebrew for a while, you might think about it. Dar, dar, dar. I don't know of a word dar. Well, you'd have to Google the Canaanite shift. This is where Hebrew was affected when certain vowels were replaced with different sounds. And a lot of words, the ah vowel became a cholim vav, an o. And that should help you out because the word dor in Hebrew means a generation, okay? A generation. You'll typically see it with a cholem over the top, dor, and it means a generation, right? A generation is something that rolls around, okay? A generation. It's a span of time with people living, obviously, but it's something that rolls. Dar, okay? It became dor. Again, Canaanite shift, a completely different something, but it would run you and I nuts both trying to talk about it in a brief. What I hope is a 15-minute video. So let's not go. Also, what other words do we get out of dar? Well, what else do we get? Well, we get, for example, cheder. Cheder, okay? Cheder, which is a room. A room, okay? If you are a parent, your hopes is that your child's room will always be clean and in order. A room is a place of order, typically with things that belong to the individual, personal things. Also, cheder is also the term used for a synagogue or a Beit HaKnesset or a house of worship. It's called cheder, the room, right? All right. So that's another thing. Again, it's order is involved. Okay, order is involved, and certain movements have to take place in order for order to be set in order. Say that 5 times fast, right? What else can we get out of dar? Well, you can put a samech in front of it, and you get the word seder. Seder, which means order. Order, okay? Hebrew prayer books with the Shacharit, the Mincha, and the Ma'ariv prayers, the 3 prayers a day. They are in a book, okay, along with hymns and psalms, and it's called a Sidur. Sidur. Why? Because it is a book of the order of a service in a house of worship, in a Beit HaKnesset or in a cheder. In cheder, okay? What else can we get out of this word? Well, we can get the word Ader with an ayn. Ader. Ader. What is an ader? Ader is a herd of bovine animals. Okay, and they travel or they graze in order. Okay, we're not looking for a specific shape. We're not looking for blah 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 blah. But they move, and they are moved and transported, and they graze in order. This is a herd, idea, okay? And it still carries that connotation of something cyclical. How about this? What else can we get from this amazing 2-letter cognate? Nah, I don't want to brag, but Dalit Resh would be my initials in Hebrew. David Royal. Okay, it's a little free one there. How about Dardar? Dardar. Dalit Resh. How perfect is that, right? How perfect is that? Dardar. Dardar are thistles, thorny-like plants, but they're thistles. They're not exactly thorns, but they are thistles. And what were they used for? Well, first of all, you find this word in the Torah when the Most High tells Adam, because he sinned, Adam, because he ate from the tree, that this is what the earth would yield to him. It would yield to him dardar, thorns and thistles. Thorns and thistles. So how is this cyclical, David? How do you keep this thing rolling? Okay. In ancient times, dardar was used, okay, to kind of remind you of big tumbleweeds, right? They were used to put a protective circle around vulnerable animals like sheep or lamb or whatever you were taking, goats you're taking out to graze. And when you had to stop at night, you would build a cyclical barrier, around these animals to protect them from predators, okay, from predators. This is dardar, okay? So again, those were only a few words, okay, that I want to offer because there are many more. A few words that will come out of that cognate, Dalit and Resh, which was originally two of the three letters that make up the shorish or the root, davar, okay, davar. Also, I mentioned that there were a lot of cyclical things going on in the book of Bami, primarily in the desert. Well, even though these aren't the same roots, take a look at this. What was it that the children of Israel made and started to worship when Moshe went to the top of the mountain? You remember Aaron makes the excuse, they took off all their jewelry and I heated it up and this thing jumped out. What was it? It was an agel, okay, an agel, which is a calf, right? A calf. So David, how in the world can you somehow make this cyclical? How? Well, agel, spelled with an ain, gimel, lamet, right? Or, again, in the script form, ain, gimel, lamed, ain, gimel, lamed. Agel, okay, is a part of a three-letter root that does mean cyclical. It means circular, okay? Agol means round or whole. Agol, okay? Agol. And I'm pretty sure you are aware of the Hebrew word for a circle, which is ma'agal. Ma'agal. So all I had to do was add a mem to the front of it, and agel becomes ma'agal, which is a circle. Okay? What else in the Bible? Well, think about this. Think about the 23rd Psalm, when famously we hear, He leads me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Okay, lema'an shemo. But what does the verse literally say? It says that you lead me, He leads me bema'agle tzedek. B'ma'agle tzedek. He leads me in the cycles or in the circles of righteousness, lema'an shmo, for the sake of His name. What do we know that appears in the Torah, things that we do or that we observe that are cyclical because they move? How do these things occur? They occur during a year. The Hebrew word for year is shana. The Hebrew word for a year is shana. Shana. What things occur during the cycle of a year? The feasts, the Muadim and the Chagim. The Muadim and the Chagim. Even the word year means a cycle. It means a circle, okay? And we are dependent upon the years and the times and the seasons in order to know when the feasts of Yud He Vav He take place. So I mentioned Moadim and Chagim. So the feasts and festivals. Related, last item here, and I'll be out of your hair. Okay, last item here. So the word I mentioned, Chag. Chag, okay? Chag is a word that means feast, festival, okay? It's supposed to be joyous, okay? Chag in the block form and chag in the script form. Chag. So, Chag, okay, we say Chag Sameach, Chag Pesach Sameach, Chag Sukkot Sameach, and on and on and on and on and on, all right? Chag means, it comes from the root lachug, to celebrate, which means literally to spin in a circle. To spin in a circle. Ever seen a kid so happy about something that they jump up and down or turn in circles? Okay? All right? How clean is that? Lachug. All right? And then finally, the last piece, what? And it's related, so don't be triggered. What is the name of the pilgrimage that Muslims go on when they make their way to Saudi Arabia to walk around, you know, the interesting black box thing? Well, it's called the Hajj. Hajj, right? They go on the Hajj, and it's translated as pilgrimage. Well, Hebrew and Arabic, because they are both Semitic languages, they share letters, okay, a lot of letters, and they also share pronunciations, okay? So, Jews of the Yemenite persuasion and the Mizrahi persuasion, instead of pronouncing this word Chag, they pronounce it Hajj. And guess what? It's because it is related. Okay, these two words are related. They are one and the same, to be actually honest. Hajj and Chag are the same words. And what do devout Muslims do when they get to the box place in Mecca? They walk around it in a circle. They walk around it in a circle. Yeah. All right. So believe it or not, that's it. That's it, and that's all. Remember, typically, most Hebrew words have a three-letter shorish, or a three-letter root, and from two of those three letters, you can often form a cognate, or a different word that shares two of your root letters, but they have an overlapping meaning. Okay, so just as I started, I'll send you out the same way. Erev Tov, Masa al Khair, Buenas tardes, good evening, and I hope this did a little something for you, at least linguistically, or that it kind of triggered your curiosity and your thought. Okay, may the Most High be with you, bless you and keep you, and I'll see you on the next go round.